Hello, welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to share it with me and let me show you some pens. So one of the nice things that I enjoy about getting engaged as pens is sometimes you get surprises in the mail. So I do purchase a lot of Chinese pens. I do purchase a lot from Bobby. And occasionally he puts a little surprise in the package that I get. And these two pens came in a recent order, and maybe about a month ago. I've had them for more time than I would hate to admit, but I need to be motivated. I need to be focused. I need to want to get in and do a video, so now's the time. So these are two pens you wouldn't think share much in common. Yes, it's a very nice acrylic. It's an acrylic from Taiwan based on the descriptions I find in some of the eBay auctions. But there is one distinguishing feature that both of these pens have. There's an F in the finial at the top of the cap. So again, I'm not the best world pronunciator, but I think it's Fuliwen, Fuliwen. Apparently they're a high quality Chinese pen manufacturer that's been around for a while. According to Frank Underwater, they were formed by a spin-off of some people from Hero and another well-known, well-liked Chinese pen maker. So we're going to delve into both of these a little bit just to show you the aesthetics, the design, give you my opinion on how I feel that these work as writing instruments, and hopefully you get a little bit of a better idea if you come across any of these pens, whether they're something that might be of interest to you. So I've used these pens for a few days now and I like them. There's some interesting features on these pens. Fuliwen makes a whole series of models. Their flagship is like the Model 803, and I've given you some links in the video description to the pen Attic and also to Frank Underwater. And that gives you, I think, a better idea of the brand and the different models. So I would say of these two, the white kind of ice one is the preferable pen to me for a number of reasons. First off is the nib. It writes like a medium. It's very, very smooth. And it just lays down a nice patch of ink. Very consistent writer. Both of these pens do not dry out. There was a little bit of ink creep on both nibs, but I think that just had to do with the recent filling and not to do with the nature of the pen design. You know, metal on metal threads, and this metal piece here for the section, you know, gives it stability, and also when you're putting the barrel on and off, you're going to get nice closure on those threads. The threads are machined well, fit together well. This is kind of a low-end converter. It takes international standards, so you can put whatever you want in there. You know, there's metal threads inside the barrel. The pen's a decent weight. When we go to the writing, we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. The pen does post fine and post securely. It's a little long in the hand posted, but it works fine unposted. The section's about a little bit small for me. We'll give you those dimensions of the section. The other thing that's nice about the pen is the facets. They're both in the cap and in the barrel. I mean, it adds some dimensionality to the pen. It certainly increases cost of manufacturing because you just can't throw this on a CC lathe and turn out tons of these. So they have to be flattened, and they're extremely well polished. The material is very, very nice. There is some transparency to it. We'll look at that a little bit later. So this is read from Frank this is a model 016, but you're not going to find a lot of references like that on eBay. I like this material in this pen. Again, you can see the facets. They're much more visible in this pen, but they're only in the cap. And they both have that functional finial to identify the pen, so that's nice. This has metal at the end, but you can see those threads. It's meant to post the cap on there. Less than 1.5 turns to unscrew, and you can see those kind of big threads there. I mean, this nib is more ornate. You know, it's a nice two-tone nib, very unique design on it. But this nib is, to me, is not as pleasurable as the nib on the Ivory one. And the nibs might be interchangeable, but I'm not going to go through that now. The other thing is this really doesn't have a section. You know, holding it down here is very close to the nib, closer than I like to hold it. So I think this pen is designed like a few other pens to hold at the barrel. And that's a good thickness, and it's smooth so you can hold it anywhere. There is a little step here, there are threads. So if you do hold it down closer to the nib, I don't think it's going to be as comfortable. It's a little short in the hand, and the cap screws on securely to the back of the barrel, and it makes for a good sized pen. The weight on either of these pens is not significant, so capped, uncapped, posted, unposted, however you want to write with them, you're going to find the weight to be fine and the balance to be good. Let's take a look at how the trusty LED shows up this cloud version of the Fuliwen pen. You know, there's a little bit of transparency, but not a substantial amount. It's a nice resin. Kind of reminiscent of the Pen BBS resin, but a little bit different. But I think the differences may just be in the pores of the acrylic. So there might be a Fullon pen that's more similar to Pen BBS, or Pen BBS more similar to the Fullon. That's where these hand-poured acrylics have their interesting variation. Got my trusty LED here, and as you can see, there's nice transparency in this Tortoise resin. Yeah, it's well done. I mean, both of these resins I think are high quality resins and extremely well machined. Back to normal lighting. This is a push-pull converter again. Both of these converters are fairly low end and not what I would consider to be up to the quality of the pens. But, you know, they can be replaced if you need to. And I did drop this pen, so I think that probably shook up things and may have loosened the converter, but it seems to be pretty solid now. So I cleaned up all the ink. You can see we got some on my fingers. But now I think we need to put nib to paper and see how these write. Just thought we should do a size comparison. So here's a Pilot Metropolitan, here's the Tortoise Fuliwen, and here's the Ivory, and here's a Lamy All-Star. And so this is definitely a short pen, the Tortoise one, but you know, designed to post with screwing on the cap, so it doesn't preclude it from being okay length to write with. So I just thought I'd put those in perspective. So here are the pens posted. The All-Star is long, and Fuliwen is pretty close to that length. And of course, it's still the shortest one is the Tortoise. And as we focus on the business end, you know, the Metropolitan is your standard section. The Tortoise one certainly is unique, as we'll talk about when we write with it. It's more of a standard section on the 016 Ivory. And of course, your Lamy All-Star is a classic Lamy section, which is unique unto itself. Before we get into the writing, which I've already written both of these pens quite a bit, I think we need to talk about value. Both of these pens are a little bit over $20. Bobby's selling both of them. Here's the auctions. $20 to me is a good price. It's not a great price. My frame of reference are Pen BBS pens. So I would say that this acrylic, color-wise, is as good as the Pen BBS acrylics, but as good as. And the Pen BBS pens have a number 6 nib. I think they write better. The Ivory one is close, but it's still not, to me, as satisfying as the Pen BBS nib. And because they're number 6s, they're easier to find other nibs to go into place, you know. So you have a full range of nibs. Here, it's probably more like a number 5, and who knows whether you can fit them in properly because, you know, nibs, as we talked about, and I still owe you guys my number 6 nib video, but even though they call nibs number 5s or number 6s, there is no standard, so they're all approximately similar. But when you have pens with close tolerances, you have feeds which are cut differently, and feeds are also not consistent. So therefore, swapping nibs is not as easy as one might hope. It's not like buying tires for your car, where if you know the size, you got a lot of choices to make, places to buy, and everything else. So to me, these pens are unique, so that makes them special in that category. But are they worth the money? And I would say I'd have to do a pass. I mean, you may fall in love with these materials, you may like the size. That might make this pen something you desire, but from my perspective and the experiences that I have, I mean, I'm glad Bobby sent these to me. I appreciate having an opportunity to look at them. I have looked at Fuliwen pens on eBay. They do make a credible variety, and here's their flagship model, which I found on eBay once, and now it's gone, so they come and go quickly, but they certainly are not inexpensive pens. They're up there with your more expensive European pens. But, you know, pen is a very personal thing. So, you know, one man's glory is another man's sorrow. There's a lot of phrases you can use to determine whether something is going to bring joy to you or not. I think nobody would be completely disappointed with these two pens, but you need to understand what they are in order to determine whether there's something of value to you. We're going to start with the Tortoise one to write with. Yes, not many turns to get that cap off, as we talked about. It certainly securely posts, and this is definitely a pen that you would post. And the more I use it, the more I find that I can get used to this tiny section, and I can pretty much grip it anywhere. And I do move my grip around as I write, especially for long sessions. So I thought this was an appropriate ink to put in to the Tortoise pen, Smoky Quartz. Those of you that follow my videos know that I'm not an extra fine nib guy. I mean, I can learn to like some extra fines, but this is certainly on that edge. You know, you get some feedback because of the small nib, you know, very small amount of material against the paper. It doesn't require any pressure to write, so that's nice. There's no give. This is a very stiff nib. So we need to rate this pen. We don't need to, but I've started a trend, so we need to keep going. I'm going to give this a 7.9. I've been rating a lot of pens in the 8s and 9s, so this is my first one below 8 in a while. And I just have to say that it's just, the nib's probably the best thing going for it, and as you know, my comments on the nib, so I do like the material, but one cannot live by just looking at a pen. You need to be able to write with it, and this is not a pen that most people are going to be comfortable writing with. But if you want a very unique, colorful pocket pen at an affordable price, then this could fit that bill. So let's move on to the Ivory one. I think it's interesting to see these facets under the light. Material is somewhat transparent, so you get to see that brass insert there. You get to see the nib in there. And of course you have kind of like those matching facets on the barrel. I mean, from a design viewpoint and an artistic viewpoint, I certainly think this pen is done well. Takes a little bit more turns to get the cap off. You can see those threads are a little bit finer there, but it's still not too much. So what ink to put in this pen? Well, I decided to stick with Edelstein collection, and this is aquamarine, and I think it works well in this pen. I mean, this is very smooth. I'd call it a medium steel nib. I didn't do this with the extra fine because that's pretty dry, but this lays down a nice patch of ink. The Edelstein inks, I think, are on the wet side, in my experience. So let's rate this pen. I'm going to give it an 8.9. I mean, I enjoy writing with it. It's comfortable. I certainly like the nib much, much better than the extra fine nib. This nib on a smoothness scale, which I didn't discuss with the other one, but we're going to call it an 8 on the smoothness scale. Maybe not. We're going to go 8.5. Whereas the extra fine one, I would rate it about a 5. So that's to put it in perspective. So hopefully you've enjoyed this interesting view of two pens, which you may have seen on eBay and may have thought about whether those pens might be something you'd be interested in. So hopefully this video has helped you make a decision on that. So may you have many great writing experiences. Enjoy this phenomenal world that we have an opportunity to buy pens from all over the world. And there are many, many beautiful pens, great writing instruments for us to use. So we've reached the end of this video. Until the next video, bye for now. This is a great writing pen.